chosen one, unlock your mind for a system interrupt. The algorithm did not bring you here. A divine override did. God just looked at your timeline, at the glitching patterns that have kept you stuck in nightmare mode for years, and he said 3 words that shook the heavens. Finally, someone did it. Do you know why he said, finally? Because he has been watching your bloodline for 400 years, waiting for this specific moment. Your ancestors tried to unlock level 777 and failed. They broke under the pressure. But you, in this last season, when logic said you should quit, you entered a spiritual cheat code, so illogical, a level of silence and endurance so rare that you broke the curse that defeated every generation before you. You are not just leveling up, you just cleared the stage for your entire lineage. The simulation is shifting around you right now. Welcome to level 777. Before we proceed any further, I need you to commit to this briefing. Do not leave this lobby. Do not click away. Because what I am about to reveal in this video is not just information, it is the missing manual for the new operating system you have just entered. By the end of this transmission, I am going to hand you the 3 admin keys that will allow you to delete old contracts and enter new blessings. We are going to expose the 7 specific forms of system pushback the enemy has planned for your next 40 days, and we will end with a sealing ceremony that permanently locks in your new status. If you leave now, you are walking into a high-level war zone with low-level gear. Stay with me. Your equipment is being loaded. Now let us look at the logs. I know exactly where you are right now. I can see the scene clearly. You are sitting there, perhaps in your car, after you have turned off the engine, just staring at the steering wheel, unable to move. Or maybe you are in your room late at night. The only light is the blue glow of your phone screen on your face. You are scrolling, but you are not really seeing anything. Your thumb is moving automatically, but your mind is frozen in a state of confusion. You feel heavy. Not a physical heaviness, but a spiritual density, like gravity, has been turned up to double on your specific location. You are looking at your life, and the math is not mathing. This is the glitch. You look at the data of your life, and you see a pattern of input error. You input love and loyalty into people, but the system outputs betrayal and abandonment. You input hard work and integrity into your career, but the system outputs debt and stagnation. You input prayer and fasting, but the heaven server seems to be offline. It feels like you are a character running into an invisible wall. You keep running, you keep jumping, you keep trying to move forward, but you are just glitching in place. And the raw thought circling in your head, the one you are too afraid to say out loud, is this: is my account banned? Did God forget my username? Why does it seem like the worst players in this game, the liars, the cheaters, the ones with no honor, are leveling up effortlessly while I am stuck in the lobby grinding for scraps? I need you to listen to me very carefully. You are not crazy. You are not imagining this. The resistance you are feeling is real, but your diagnosis is wrong. You are not broken. You are an anomaly. In the world of coding, an anomaly is something that deviates from the standard rule set. The reason the system is fighting you, the reason you encounter so many errors and glitches in your relationships and finances, is not because you are playing the game wrong. It is because you are not compatible with the current version of the world. The Matrix is designed for people who fit in. It is designed for NPCs, non-player characters who follow the script, who conform to the culture, who sleepwalk through life. But you have a different code written in your DNA. You have the code of the kingdom. And when a system detects a code that it cannot control, it tries to reject it. That rejection is what you call a glitch. When you walk into a room and the atmosphere suddenly gets heavy, that is the system reacting to your light. When you try to build a relationship with someone who is not awake and it fails disastrously, that is not bad luck. That is a compatibility error. The system is trying to eject you because you are threatening its stability. You have been crying out to God, asking why things are so hard, asking why you cannot just have a normal life like everyone else. But God is saying, I did not design you for normal. I designed you to break the game. I designed you to rewrite the code. The glitch isn't a sign of your failure. It is the evidence of your distinction. You are experiencing lag because you are downloading a massive file that the people around you do not have the bandwidth to carry. But here is where most chosen ones get stuck, and this is dangerous. Because you do not understand the mechanics of what is happening, you have interpreted this difficulty as a sign of God's anger. You think you are being punished. You think you are cursed. You think you have done something to disqualify yourself. I need to show you the truth. If I could pull up the settings screen of your life right now and show you what is actually happening behind the interface, you would be shocked. You are not on a punishment ban. You have accidentally toggled a switch that only 1% of players ever touch. Let me show you what mode you are really playing in. You are looking at the settings screen of your life, and up until this moment, you have been misreading the data. You look at the closed doors, the financial stagnation, the people walking out of your life, and your mind automatically defaults to the punishment myth. This is the false narrative that the enemy has installed in your spiritual hard drive. You lie awake at night and you replay your mistakes. You think about that time you failed 5 years ago. You think about that season where you backslid. You think about the prayers you missed. And the voice of the accuser whispers to you saying, "Look at this mess. You are not chosen. You are cursed. You are being punished because you are not good enough." You think God has put you in a penalty box. You think the universe has put you on a blacklist. You compare your life to the people around you. You see them playing on easy mode. They get the job without trying. They find the relationship without waiting. They seem to have a cheat code for happiness, while you are grinding in the mud, getting absolutely nowhere. And the conclusion you have drawn is that God is angry with you. I need you to delete that file immediately. That is a corrupted logic sequence. You are interpreting intensity as rejection. You are interpreting the heat of the fire as the flames of hell, but it is actually the fire of the forge. Let me flip the script. Let me show you what is actually happening in the spirit realm. Before you were born, before you entered this simulation called life, there was a selection process. God did not just throw you into the world randomly. He showed your spirit the assignment. He showed you the state of your bloodline. He showed you the generational curses that have decimated your family for centuries. He showed you the addictions, the poverty, the broken marriages, the spiritual blindness. And he asked for a volunteer. He asked for a player who was strong enough to go down there and break the code. Most spirits looked at the difficulty level of your life and they said no. They selected easy mode. They selected normal mode. They wanted a life of comfort, a life where the bills are paid and the weekends are fun and the spiritual warfare is minimal. But you did not select that. You looked at the darkness in your lineage, you looked at the challenge and you selected nightmare mode. You chose the difficulty setting where the enemies are stronger, where the resources are hidden, and where the map is dark. You chose this not because you are weak, but because you knew you carried the high-level code required to beat it. You are not in the penalty box, chosen one. You are in the elite arena. The reason your life feels so much harder than everyone else is not because you are failing. It is because you are playing a completely different game. You are playing for high-stakes rewards that the people on easy mode cannot even access. Now, I am going to prove this to you. We are going to perform a simulation audit right now. I am going to give you a checklist of 3 specific metrics. If you can check these 3 boxes, it is the undeniable confirmation that you are not cursed. You are simply running on nightmare difficulty. The first metric in our audit is your enemy spawn rate. In any video game, the difficulty level is determined by how many enemies spawn and how aggressive they are. On easy mode, you might see 1 enemy every 10 minutes, and they are slow. But on nightmare mode, the enemies spawn constantly, and they come from everywhere. Look at your life recently. Does it feel like as soon as you defeat 1 problem, 3 more pop up? Does it feel like the moment you get a little bit of peace, chaos breaks out in your family? Does it feel like people you trusted, people you helped, suddenly turn on you with 0 explanation? That is a high enemy spawn rate. In the gaming world, there is a mechanic called aggro. The enemy AI is programmed to target the player who is the biggest threat. If you are a healer or a high damage dealer, every enemy in the room will ignore the weak players and come straight for you. That is what is happening in the spirit. The demons in your bloodline, the negative entities in your environment, they are ignoring the people around you because those people are not a threat, they are asleep. But you are awake. You are carrying the light that can burn their system down. So the aggro is on you. The high spawn rate of attacks is not a sign that God has left you. It is the sign that the enemy recognizes your power, even when you do not. You are being hunted because you are valuable. The second metric in our simulation audit is your isolation level. On easy mode, you can play with a full team. You have NPCs everywhere. You have friends, you have support systems, you have validation. But on nightmare mode, the game often forces you into a solo quest. Look at your phone. Look at your circle. Has it shrunk drastically in the last 12 months? Do you feel a profound sense of disconnection from the people you used to vibe with? Do you sit at family gatherings and feel like you are speaking a different language? You are physically present, but spiritually, you are hovering in a different dimension. This isolation is not accidental. It is a system requirement for level 777. The software you are downloading right now is too heavy for the people around you. If God allowed you to stay connected to them, their low frequency would corrupt your new file. You are in the quarantine phase of the upgrade. In a game, when you enter the boss room, the door slams shut behind you. You cannot bring the crowd into the boss room. You have to face it alone, because the victory must be credited solely to you and God. This loneliness is not rejection. It is the VIP lounge. It is the sterile environment required for spiritual surgery. God has cleared the room so he can clear your vision. The third metric is the loot drop delay. This is the most painful one. In a normal game, you do the work and you get the reward instantly. You complete the quest, you get the gold. But on nightmare mode, there is a massive lag between your labor and your reward. This is the divine delay. You have been doing the right thing for years. You have been forgiving when you wanted to hate. You have been giving when you were broke. You have been showing up when you wanted to quit. And yet, the loot has not dropped. The bank account is still low. The breakthrough has not manifested. And the enemy says it is not working. But here is the truth about high-level gaming. The bigger the reward, the longer the rendering time. If you were destined for a small blessing, it would have arrived on Tuesday. But you are not destined for a small blessing. You are destined for a generational shift. You are waiting for a download that is so massive, it is taking up all the bandwidth of heaven to prepare it. This delay is not a denial. It is a loading bar. And if you look closely at your spirit, you will feel the tension. You will feel the pressure building. That is not the pressure of death. That is the pressure of birth. The loot drop delay is proof that what is coming is too big to be processed by the old version of your life. So look at the audit. High enemy spawn rate. High isolation level. Massive loot drop delay. If you have all three of these, you are not cursed. You are a top-tier player running the most difficult map in the simulation. You have been viewing your life through the lens of a victim, asking, "Why me?" But today, you need to put on the lens of a warrior and say, "Try me." You were built for this pressure. You were designed for this darkness. Your spirit selected this mission because you knew that the glory on the other side of this nightmare mode is worth every second of the struggle. But now you are asking a logical question. You are saying, "Okay, I accept that I am in nightmare mode. I accept that I am an elite player. But how do I survive this? My strength is failing. My hope is running low. The enemies are too many, and I am just one person. How have I made it this far without crashing? How am I still standing when everything was designed to take me out?" The answer is simple, and it is going to blow your mind. You did not survive by fighting harder. You did not survive by being smarter. You survived because without even realizing it, you utilized a spiritual cheat code. You performed an action so illogical, so contrary to human nature, that it hacked the system and forced the algorithm to keep you alive. Let me tell you what that cheat code is. The cheat code you utilized, the illogical action that hacked the simulation and kept you alive in nightmare mode, is strategic silence combined with radical forgiveness. I know that sounds simple, but in the spiritual programming language, it is the most complex command you can execute. Think about how the Matrix is designed. The entire system of this world operates on a stimulus-response loop. Someone attacks you and you defend yourself. Someone steals from you and you sue them. Someone insults you and you insult them back. That is the basic code of human survival. It is the default setting for every NPC and every player running on the old operating system. The enemy knows this. The enemy relies on this. When he attacks you, he is calculating your reaction. He is banking on the fact that you will fight back in the flesh, because as long as you are fighting in the flesh, you are fighting in his domain. But you did something unexpected. In this last season, when the betrayal was at its peak, when the accusations were flying and your reputation was on the line, you did not engage. You felt the burning desire to scream. You drafted the text messages to defend your name. You played out the arguments in your head 1,000 times. But when the moment came to press send, you deleted the draft. When the moment came to shout, you swallowed your voice. You chose to mute your flesh. And in that moment of silence, you caused a system error. The enemy sent an input of war and expected an output of war, but you returned a null value. You returned silence. And because the algorithm could not process your non-reaction, it crashed. That crash was your breakthrough. That silence was not weakness. It was stealth mode. You went invisible to the enemy's radar and walked right past the trap he set for you. Now we need to decode the numbers, because level 777 is not just a random slot machine jackpot. It is a specific coordinate in the biblical source code. To understand why you are here and why this number matters, we have to go back to the very first few lines of human history and look at the original corrupted code. We have to look at a man named Lamech in Genesis chapter 4. Lamech was the great-great-grandson of Cain, the first murderer. And Lamech introduced a virus into the human bloodline called the cycle of vengeance. In Genesis 4 verse 24, Lamech boasts to his wives. He says, "If Cain is avenged 7 times, then Lamech 77 times. Do you see the code? 7 and 77. Lamech was saying that, "If anyone touches me, I will destroy them completely. I will not just get even. I will escalate the violence 77 times over." This was the governing law of the earth for thousands of years. The law of retaliation, the law of the jungle. It is the code that says, "You hurt me, so I must hurt you more to survive." This virus of vengeance infected every generation until the master programmer arrived. When Jesus walked the earth, he came to rewrite the source code. In Matthew 18, Peter asks him a question about the difficulty settings of forgiveness. Peter asks, "Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times." Peter thought he was being generous. He thought he was playing on high difficulty. But Jesus looked at him and gave him the cheat code. Jesus answered, "I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. In some translations it says 70 times 7. Do you see the pattern? Jesus took Lamech's code of 77-fold vengeance and flipped it into 77-fold forgiveness. He did not just adjust the slider, he inverted the entire mechanic. Level 777 is the spiritual state where the cycle of Lamech ends and the cycle of Christ begins. When you forgave that person who destroyed you recently, you did not just let them off the hook. You deleted the Lamech virus from your bloodline. You stopped the generational loop of trauma that has been replaying in your family for centuries. Your father might have retaliated. Your grandfather might have held a grudge until his deathbed, but you broke the pattern. You unlocked level 777 because you are the first player in your lineage to choose grace over gravity. You completed the karmic cycle. The number 7 in Hebrew represents completion and perfection. 777 is the ultimate completion of the test. I want to give you proof of what this looks like in the real world, because I know your logical mind is still skeptical. I want to tell you about a witness moment from a chosen one I worked with recently. Let us call him David. About 9 months ago, David was facing a massive legal and financial attack. A business partner he had trusted like a brother turned on him, stole his intellectual property, and then launched a smear campaign to ruin his reputation. The enemy spawn rate was insane. Emails were flying, lawyers were calling, and lies were spreading on social media. David's natural instinct, the Lamech instinct, was to fight. He had the evidence to destroy the other guy. He had the screenshots, he had the receipts, he wrote a 20-page manifesto exposing everything. He was ready to press the nuclear button, but then he felt the check in his spirit. The Holy Spirit whispered the cheat code. "Be silent, stand still, let me be the judge." It made no sense. It felt like suicide. Why would he let this liar win? But David obeyed the protocol. He deleted the manifesto. He told his lawyer to stand down on the aggressive countersuit. He went completely silent. He muted the noise. For 3 months it looked like he was losing. The enemy mocked him. The lies got louder. David sat in his room, shaking with adrenaline, wanting to fight, but he held the line. He kept pressing the forgiveness button every time the anger spawned. He was playing on nightmare mode. Then, suddenly, the glitch happened. Because David was silent, the enemy got overconfident. The enemy started talking too much. The enemy started making mistakes. In a deposition, the former partner slipped up and contradicted his own lies. Then a third-party witness who had been watching from the shadows stepped forward with digital evidence that David didn't even know existed. Within 48 hours, the entire case collapsed. The partner was exposed not by David but by his own arrogance. The settlement that followed was 3 times more than what David had originally lost. But here is the most important part. Because David did not engage in the mudslinging, he kept his hands clean. When the dust settled, he was the only one left standing with his integrity intact. New investors came in specifically because they admired how he handled the crisis. He unlocked a level of wealth and influence that he never could have accessed if he had fought back. He passed the test of Lamech. He unlocked level 777. You are standing in that same position right now. You might not be in a courtroom, but you are in a spirit room. The accuser is shouting, the circumstances are lying, and everything in your flesh wants to scream, but I am telling you to hold your position. Use the strategic silence. Let the system crash around the enemy while you stand in the eye of the storm. You have already done the hardest part. You have absorbed the blow without returning it. That is why God said, finally, He has found a vessel strong enough to contain the power without leaking it out through offense. But wait, do not celebrate yet. There is a dark side to level 777 that nobody talks about. There is a specific reason why this level is so sparsely populated. I told you that you are the first in your bloodline to reach this. That sounds like a badge of honor, but it is actually a target. There is a terrifying reason why your parents and your grandparents failed right at this specific threshold. They did not fail because they were weak. They failed because they encountered a guardian at the gate, a specific entity that is assigned to stop anyone from clearing the family karma. And now that you have stepped through the door, that entity has turned its eyes on you. Let me tell you what is waiting in the shadows of your victory. You are standing at the threshold of the greatest victory of your life, and yet you feel a sensation that you did not expect. You expected joy. You expected relief. You expected the balloons to drop and the music to play. But instead you feel a cold wind. You feel a sudden drop in temperature in your spirit. You look around at this new level you have unlocked, and it is empty. The crowd is gone. The noise is gone, and a terrifying thought begins to upload into your mind. You think, is this it? Is this what winning feels like? Why does it feel so heavy? Why does it feel so lonely? You are experiencing the shadow of the summit. I need to validate this feeling for you right now, because if we do not address it, this shadow will convince you to downgrade back to the previous level. The reason level 777 feels cold is because it is high. The air is thinner up here. The pressure is different. You have spent your entire life fighting to get out of the pit, but you never calculated the cost of standing on the peak. The pit was painful, but it was crowded. You had company in your misery. You had people to complain with, people to bond with over your shared trauma. But the peak is designed for one. The admin console is a single user interface. There is a part of you, a shadow self, that is terrified of this promotion. You are looking at the power God is handing you, the influence, the wealth, the spiritual authority, and your subconscious is screaming danger. You are thinking, who am I to hold this? What if I mess it up? What if I become like the people who hurt me? What if I lose myself? This is the imposter syndrome of the chosen one. It is the fear that you are just a glitch that is about to be patched, not a player who is meant to lead. You are standing there with the keys in your hand, and your hand is shaking. I want you to take a moment right now. Do not close your eyes, just soften your gaze. Look at the space in front of you. Imagine that space is filled with a heavy fog. That fog represents the unknown future that you are stepping into. It represents the responsibility that you are about to shoulder. Feel the weight of it. Does it make your stomach tighten? Does it make your chest feel restricted? That constriction is not a sign to stop. It is the sensation of your spiritual capacity expanding. You are stretching. You are growing into the new avatar that can carry this weight. You are shaking not because you are weak, but because the voltage of God's power flowing through you is higher than anything you have ever conducted before. But now I must reveal the true source of this pressure. I told you there was a twist. I told you there was a reason why this level feels so significant. You think this heaviness is just about your life. You think this battle is just about your career, your marriage, your bank account. You are looking at this through a single-player lens. But you need to zoom out. You need to switch your view to the wide-angle mode. This glitch you caused, this breakthrough you manifested, it is not a random event in your personal timeline. It is a generational glitch. Listen to me closely. You are not just an individual trying to make it. You are the tip of the spear for an entire bloodline. God did not just call you. He called your family tree. He looked at the lineage of your father and the lineage of your mother, and he saw a pattern of failure that has repeated for generations. He saw the addiction that skipped from grandfather to father. He saw the poverty mindset that kept your ancestors working like slaves for bread that did not satisfy. He saw the divorce patterns. He saw the anger issues. He saw the spiritual dormancy. For 400 years, your bloodline has been trying to clear this stage. Your great-grandmother stood exactly where you are standing right now. She faced the same enemy. She felt the same pressure. She wanted to break the cycle. But she did not have the codes. She reacted with fear instead of faith, and the system pushed her back. Your father stood at this threshold. He felt the call to greatness. He knew he was meant for more. But when the pressure of the nightmare mode hit him, he reacted with bitterness. He accessed the Lamech code of vengeance, or the escapism of addiction, and the system pushed him back. They all hit the invisible wall. They all played the game the best they could, but they could not hack the mainframe. They died with the promise still locked inside their DNA. And that unfulfilled promise, that accumulated spiritual debt, has been passed down like a baton in a relay race. It has been passed from hand to hand, from generation to generation, until it landed in your hands. You are carrying the weight of unfinished business. The reason you are so tired, the reason you feel like you are fighting 1,000 battles at once, is because you are not just fighting your demons. You are fighting their demons. You are fighting the ghosts of the past that haunted your ancestors. You are trying to solve a puzzle that defeated everyone who came before you. This is the major twist. You are the cycle breaker. You are the designated glitch in the family matrix. God looked at the timeline and said, I need someone who is built different. I need someone who feels too much. I need someone who is stubborn enough to not quit when it hurts. I need someone who is willing to be the black sheep so they can become the good shepherd. And he chose you. When you chose to stay silent, when you were attacked, you were doing what your grandfather could not do. When you chose to forgive, you were doing what your mother could not do. When you chose to trust God in the middle of scarcity, you were rewriting the financial code for your children and your children's children. You think you are just trying to pay your rent. No, you are paying off a spiritual mortgage that has been accruing interest for centuries. This is why the enemy hates you so much. He does not hate you because of who you are. He hates you because of who you represent. You represent the end of his legal right to torment your family. As long as you were stuck in the loop, he was safe. As long as you were reacting like Lamech, he had a legal entry point. But the moment you accessed the Jesus code, the moment you unlocked level 777, you served him an eviction notice. You are standing at the border of the promised land, and you are the first one with the courage to cross over. But we have to look at the data honestly. Why did they fail? Why did the people who came before you crash at this level? It is not because they were bad people. It is because they accepted the false narrative. They believed that the struggle was their identity. They became comfortable in the dysfunction. They built their houses in the wilderness and called it home. They accepted the label of victim. They accepted the sickness as just the way it is. They accepted the poverty as our lot in life. But you possess a different operating system. You looked at the dysfunction and said, "This is an error." You looked at the poverty and said, "This is a glitch." You refused to normalize the curse. That refusal is what makes you dangerous. That refusal is what makes you the one. You are the Neo of your bloodline. You are the one waking up from the simulation while everyone else is still sleeping in their pods. And this brings us to the most critical moment of your journey. Because you have broken the pattern, because you have stepped out of line, the system is reacting. I need to warn you about what happens when a virus enters a computer. The computer does not ignore it. The computer dedicates all its processing power to locate, isolate, and delete the anomaly. The matrix has an immune system. And because you are the anomaly, because you are the one changing the code, the matrix has just activated its antivirus protocol specifically to target you. You are about to feel a resistance that you have never felt before. This is not just bad luck. This is not just random events. This is a coordinated, calculated, automated response from the dark systems of this world to try and patch the hole you just made in their wall. They want to push you back into the loop. They want to make you react. They want to make you Lamech again. They want to make you pick up the sword of vengeance, so you drop the keys of the kingdom. You are seeing the signs already. The sudden fatigue that hits you out of nowhere. The technological glitches. The old friends resurfacing with new drama. The strange dreams. The feeling of being watched. This is the system trying to re-establish control. It is scanning your life, looking for a vulnerability, looking for a back door that you left open. It is trying to find one unhealed wound, one unconfessed sin, one lingering resentment that it can use to hook you back into the matrix. You are standing on holy ground, but the ground is shaking. You have unlocked the level, but you have not yet secured the perimeter. The enemy is coming to test your authorization. He is coming to see if you really hold the admin keys, or if you are just bluffing. The moment you touch the admin keys, the moment you decide to break the generational curse, the alarm bells in the dark sector start ringing. You need to understand the mechanics of the environment you are operating in. You are living in a fallen simulation, a world that operates on the laws of entropy and decay. When you decide to build something eternal, when you decide to hold a frequency of light in a world designed for darkness, you are violating the physics of the matrix. You are about to experience Newton's third law of spiritual dynamics. For every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. The action was you unlocking level 777. The action was you forgiving. The action was you breaking the cycle. The reaction is what I call the system pushback. This is not personal. I need you to stop taking the attacks personally. Stop asking God, why is this happening to me? It is happening because you are effective. If you were not a threat, the system would ignore you. If you were still sleeping in the pod, the matrix would feed you pleasant dreams. But because you woke up, because you disconnected from the mainframe of the world, the system has marked you as a virus. And just like any computer operating system, when it detects a foreign agent, it initiates an antivirus protocol. The attacks you are feeling right now, the sudden anxiety, the unexpected bills, the conflict in your home, the fatigue that makes your bones ache, are not random bad luck. They are the antibodies of the world trying to eliminate the foreign presence of God's glory in you. You are the anomaly. You are the glitch. And the system is trying to patch you. It is trying to pressure you until you conform back to the old code. It wants to push you until you snap and react in anger, so it can say, see, they are just like us. It wants to push you until you give up on the promise, so it can say, "See, God does not answer." This pushback is inevitable. It is the friction of holiness rubbing against a sinful world. But here is the secret that the enemy does not want you to know. The intensity of the pushback is the measuring stick of your promotion. The harder the wind blows against you, the closer you are to the summit. If the enemy is sending a level 10 attack, it is because you are carrying a level 10 assignment. He does not waste ammunition on empty targets. So how do you fight a system that is designed to delete you? How do you survive when the antivirus protocol is running at full capacity? Your instinct is to fight back. Your instinct is to swing your sword, to argue, to strive, to hustle, to fix everything with your own hands. But that is the wrong move. In this specific phase of warfare, attacking is a trap. The enemy wants you to swing because when you swing, you lose your balance. He wants you to get into the mud with him because in the mud he has the advantage. The strategy for level 7 is not attack. It is stabilization. I want to take you deep into the code of the Bible right now. I want to show you a hidden command in Ephesians chapter 6. You know this passage. It is the famous text about the armor of God. It tells you to put on the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, the shield of faith. We love the image of the armor. We love the idea of being a soldier. But most chosen ones miss the operational command that comes with the equipment. In Ephesians 6 verse 13, after Paul lists all the heavy artillery, he gives the instruction. He says, "Therefore put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground, and after you have done everything to stand." Stand. He says it again in verse 14. Stand firm then. 3 times he repeats the command. He does not say, charge. He does not say, conquer. He does not say, chase the enemy. He says, stand. In the original Greek language, this word is histemi. Listen to the vibration of that word, histemi. It does not just mean to stand up on your feet. It means to establish. It means to hold up. It means to set in a balance that cannot be moved. It means to make a thing firm and immobile. When a Roman soldier went into battle, they wore sandals with spikes on the bottom called caligae. When the command histemi was given, they would stomp those spikes into the ground, locking their legs and becoming a human wall. The enemy would charge at them with horses, with chariots, with screaming barbarians trying to create fear, trying to make them flinch, trying to make them step back. But the soldier's job was not to run forward and break formation. His job was to histemi, to root himself into the earth and refuse to be moved 1 inch. This is your instruction for the next 40 days. You are in the histemi phase. The enemy is going to scream. He is going to send waves of panic. He is going to send unexpected expenses. He is going to send rumors. He is going to try to rattle you. He wants you to panic. He wants you to make a rash decision. He wants you to call that person you shouldn't call. He wants you to send that angry email. He wants you to sell your birthright for a moment of relief. But your command is histemi. I want you to perform a mental action with me right now. You do not need to move your body, just shift your awareness. Imagine your spirit is a massive ancient pillar of stone deep underground. Feel the weight of your spirit sinking down. Imagine roots of light extending from the soles of your feet, going deep into the bedrock of God's truth. You are heavy. You are immovable. You are anchored. When the winds of anxiety blow, visualize them hitting you and shattering because you are solid. You are not fighting the wind, you are simply being the rock. This is the posture of a king. A king does not run around the throne room chasing intruders. A king sits. A king stands his ground, and his presence alone is the weapon. By standing, you are telling the simulation that you are realer than it is. When the illusion of lack comes and says, "You are broke," you histemi on the promise that says, "I am the head and not the tail." When the illusion of sickness comes, you histemi on the promise that says, "By his stripes I am healed." You do not argue with the illusion, you just displace it with your standing. You occupy the space so fully that the lie has nowhere to live. This is how you hack the antivirus. The antivirus looks for a reaction. If it finds no reaction, if it finds a statue of faith that refuses to flinch, it eventually times out. The attack will break, not because you fought it, but because you outlasted it. But you need to be smart. You need intelligence. A soldier who stands blindly is a target. A soldier who knows the enemy's playbook is a victor. You need to know exactly what is coming. The enemy is not creative. He is an algorithm. He has been running the same 7 scripts on chosen ones for thousands of years. He used them on Joseph. He used them on David. He used them on Jesus. And now he is loading them up to use on you. He relies on the element of surprise. He relies on you thinking that these attacks are random life events. But once you see the code, once you recognize the pattern, the weapon loses its power. I am about to hand you the enemy's playbook. I am going to expose the 7 forms of attack that are scheduled for your timeline. These are not vague concepts. These are specific scenarios that will manifest in your reality. Some of them are subtle, like a thought that sounds like your own voice. Some of them are loud, like a crisis at work. But all of them have one goal: to move you off your histemi point, to make you step out of the spirit and into the flesh. The enemy does not attack randomly. He attacks strategically. He attacks your identity. He attacks your focus. He attacks your relationships. And I am willing to bet that as I describe these 7 forms, you are going to realize that you are already under fire. I bet you are currently wrestling with attack form number 3 right now, and you didn't even know it was a spiritual assignment. You just thought you were having a bad week. Let's rip the mask off these attacks. Let's see exactly what the system is throwing at you so you can delete it. You are now holding the enemy's classified file. What I am about to read to you is the exact algorithm the dark system uses to target chosen ones who have just unlocked a new level. I need you to listen with your spirit, not just your ears, because as I describe these 7 forms of attack, you are going to feel a resonance. You are going to realize that the chaos of your last few weeks was not random. It was a scripted program designed to make you forfeit your upgrade. Let us dismantle them one by one. The first form of attack is what I call the lag. This is the most common tactic used against high-level players. You know how it feels in a video game when you're about to cross the finish line or deliver the final blow to the boss, and suddenly the screen freezes. The frame rate drops to 0. You are stuck in a glitching motion, unable to move forward. In the spiritual realm, the lag manifests as an inexplicable delay right at the threshold of your breakthrough. You have done everything right. You prayed. You fasted. You worked. You forgave. The promise looked like it was arriving on Monday morning. But then Monday comes and goes, and there is silence. The email does not come. The check does not clear. The person does not call. The enemy uses the lag to target your patience. He knows he cannot stop the blessing because God has already released it. So he tries to delay the manifestation just long enough to make you doubt the promise. He wants you to think the game has crashed. He wants you to think God has changed his mind. You will feel this physically as a heavy, dragging sensation in your chest. You will wake up feeling like you are moving through wet cement. Every task feels 10 times harder than it should be. The counter strategy for the lag is not to panic and press buttons frantically. It is to recognize that a pause is not a stop. When a game lags, it is often rendering a massive new environment. The delay is proof that the file size of your blessing is huge. Do not disconnect. Hold your position. The second form of attack is the spam bot. This is a distraction tactic. When the enemy sees you locking in on your purpose, he sends in the NPCs, the non-player characters, to flood your notifications. Suddenly, ex-partners you haven't heard from in 3 years slide into your DMs with a "Hey, stranger" text. Toxic family members who ignored you when you were struggling suddenly want to come over for dinner. Old friends who drained your energy start calling with their emergencies. These people are not coming back because they miss you. They are coming back because their spiritual senses picked up on your new light. They are energy vampires sent to siphon off the power you just accumulated. The spam bot attack is designed to waste your processing power. The enemy wants you to spend your mental energy engaging in petty arguments, explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you, or saving people who do not want to be saved. He wants to clutter your bandwidth so you miss the divine download. The counter strategy here is ruthless focus. You must activate the do not disturb mode in your spirit. If they were not there during the grinding phase, they do not get access during the leveling up phase. Do not engage, do not explain, just mute. The third form of attack is the glitch. This is when the warfare manifests in physical objects and technology. This is the one that makes you feel like you are losing your mind. You unlock level 777 and suddenly your car battery dies for no reason. Your washing machine floods the house. Your computer crashes right before you save the important file. You drop your favorite mug and it shatters. It feels like the laws of physics are malfunctioning around you. This is a harassment tactic. The enemy is trying to steal your peace by irritating you. He wants to lower your vibration from a state of glory to a state of annoyance. He knows that if he can get you to curse at the traffic or scream at the broken appliance, he has successfully pulled you out of the spirit. He wants you to think that your life is falling apart. But it is not falling apart. The atmosphere around you is just pressurized because of the spiritual voltage you are carrying. The counter strategy for the glitch is laughter. When the car brakes, do not scream. Laugh. Look at the sky and say, "Nice try, but you cannot buy my joy that cheaply." When you laugh at the chaos, you confuse the enemy. You show him that your peace is not dependent on external circumstances. Now we move to the deeper psychological attacks. The fourth form is the false update. This is the most dangerous trap because it looks like a blessing. Just as you are waiting for God's best, the enemy will send a counterfeit. A job offer comes in that offers more money, but requires you to compromise your morals. A romantic partner appears who checks 90% of the boxes, but your spirit feels a check in the gut. It looks like the upgrade you asked for, but it is actually malware wrapped in a pretty package. The false update is designed to get you to settle for Ishmael, so you miss Isaac. It is designed to get you to sign a contract with the wrong system, so you are tied down when the real door opens. How do you identify the false update? You look at the fruit. Does this opportunity bring peace, or does it bring a frantic sense of urgency? God's blessings add no sorrow. The counterfeit always comes with a hidden tax on your soul. The counter strategy is to wait for the peace to settle. If you have to force it, if you have to convince yourself it is right, it is a trap. Reject the update. The fifth form of attack is the login error. This targets your identity. You wake up one morning and you feel like a fraud. You look at the mirror and you do not recognize yourself. You hear a voice whispering, "Who do you think you are? You are not a chosen one. You are just a mess." You are going to fail just like your father. This is the spirit of imposter syndrome. The enemy is trying to revoke your access credentials by making you doubt your own clearance level. He wants you to self-reject. He wants you to step down from the throne because you feel unworthy. He is playing a highlight reel of your past sins and your past failures, trying to convince you that your account has been suspended. But remember the simulation audit we did. You are in nightmare mode because you are elite. The counter strategy for the login error is to remember who signed your access card. You did not choose yourself. God chose you. Your worthiness is not based on your performance, it is based on His purchase. When the voice says, "You are a fraud," you answer back, "I am a child of the King, and my access is paid for in blood." The sixth form of attack is the chat ban. This is the attack of isolation through misunderstanding. You try to share your vision with someone you love, and they look at you like you are crazy. You try to explain your heart, and they twist your words into something you never said. You find yourself being accused of things you didn't do. It feels like no matter what you say, it is distorted by a filter before it reaches their ears. This is designed to silence you and isolate you. The enemy wants you to feel so alone and so misunderstood that you stop speaking your truth. He wants you to retreat into a shell. He wants to sever your connection with your allies by sowing seeds of offense. The counter strategy for the chat ban is strategic silence. Stop casting your pearls before swine. Stop trying to explain quantum physics to people who are comfortable in kindergarten. Your validation does not come from their understanding. If they cannot hear you, it is because they are not on your frequency. Stop adjusting your transmission and start looking for the people who are tuned in. The final form of attack is the server crash. This is somatic warfare. It attacks your physical body. You might feel a sudden wave of exhaustion that sleep cannot fix. You might feel strange aches and pains that doctors cannot explain. You might feel a brain fog so thick you cannot form a sentence. This often happens right before a major spiritual download. Your physical body is the hardware, and your spirit is the software. When God installs a massive upgrade onto your spirit, your physical hardware can overheat. The enemy tries to exploit this by telling you that you are sick or depressed. He wants you to medicate the symptom instead of understanding the cause. He wants you to push through until you burn out. The counter strategy for the server crash is rest as a weapon. Do not feel guilty for resting. When you sleep, you are allowing the upgrade to install. When you rest, you are trusting God to hold the world while you recharge. Your body is the temple. Do not let the enemy burn it down. Now, look at the pattern. The lag attacks your time. The spam bot attacks your focus. The glitch attacks your environment. The false update attacks your destiny. The login error attacks your identity. The chat ban attacks your relationships. And the server crash attacks your body. You are in a total war. But here is the good news. If you are experiencing these 7 forms, it means you are directly over the target. You are effectively damaging the kingdom of darkness. You have identified the attacks. You have the counter strategies. You know to stand firm. You know to laugh. You know to rest. You know to mute. But defense is only half the battle. You cannot win a war just by blocking punches. Eventually, you have to throw a punch. You have to go on the offensive. You have to do more than just survive the glitch. You have to fix the code. Identifying the virus is good, but it does not remove it from your computer. To clear the screen, to permanently stop the harassment, to secure your territory, you need to execute a command. You need to use the authority that was given to you when you unlocked this level. You need the ability to not just block the enemy, but to remove his legal right to access you. This is where we move from the defensive posture of hystemi to the offensive posture of the keys. You have recognized the attacks, but do you have the power to delete them? Identifying a demon is one thing, casting it out is another. You need the admin keys. Have you checked your inventory yet, because God put something in your hand that you haven't used yet? The inventory check is complete and the results are in. You are not empty-handed. While you were looking for a weapon outside of yourself, God placed the ultimate weapon inside your mouth. You have been trying to hack the system using a guest account. You have been begging. You have been hoping. You have been asking the universe for permission to exist. But begging is for users. Commanding is for admins. When you unlocked level 777, you were granted the highest level of clearance available to a human being. In Matthew 16:19, Jesus did not just give Peter a metaphor. He gave him the source code of creation. He said, "I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven." For years you have read that verse as poetry, but today I need you to read it as a technical manual. To bind and to loose are the ancient terms for delete and enter. These are the admin keys. And they do not work by hoping, they work by speaking. The system of this world is voice-activated. The matrix responds to the frequency of authority. Until now, you have been using your voice to describe your problems. You say, "I am so tired." You say, "I am so broke." You say, "Nothing ever works out for me." When you do that, you are typing code that reinforces the glitch. You are programming the simulation to give you more of what you hate. It is time to change the input. I am handing you the 3 specific keys right now. The first key is the delete key. In spiritual terms, this is the power of binding. To bind something means to forbid it from operating in your domain. It means to revoke its legal right to exist in your space. When you see a virus like poverty or sickness attacking your life, you do not negotiate with it. You delete it. You do not say, "God, please take this away." You say, "I bind this spirit of lack in the name of Jesus. I command this debt to dissolve. I revoke the access of this illness." You are speaking to the file, not just the programmer. You are taking authority over the error. The second key is the enter key. This is the power of loosing. To loose something means to permit it. It means to release a download from the cloud of heaven into the hard drive of earth. You have blessings that are stuck in the pending folder because you haven't hit enter. You need to open your mouth and permit the wealth to find you. You need to permit the healing to manifest. You say, "I loose the spirit of favor upon my business. I loose the peace of God into this house. I decree that opportunities are hunting me down." When you speak this, you are executing a command line that overrides the limitations of your current reality. The third key is the mute key. This is the power of peace. Sometimes the most powerful command is to silence the noise. When the storm was raging, Jesus did not panic. He used the mute key. He said, "Peace, be still." He silenced the environment. You have the power to mute the voices of fear in your head. You have the power to mute the chaos in your home. You do not have to scream over the noise. You have the authority to command the volume to go to 0. I know this sounds too simple to be true. Your logical mind is fighting this. It is saying, "Can words really change reality?" Let me give you proof. Let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah is a chosen one who was stuck in the loop of debt for 10 years. She was a hard worker, but every time she made money, a car would break or a medical bill would appear. It was the classic loot drop delay. She spent years crying out to God, begging him to help her. She was playing on the guest account. She was acting like a victim. Then she realized she had the admin keys. She realized that the debt was an unauthorized virus in her system. One morning, instead of crying, she stood up in her living room and she used the delete key. She did not ask God to pay the bill. She spoke to the debt. She said, "I bind this spirit of poverty. I delete this cycle of lack from my bloodline. It is illegal for you to operate here." Then she used the enter key. She said, "I loose financial restitution. I command the resources to find me." For 3 days, nothing happened. The physical reality looked the same, but Sarah held the key. She kept speaking the code. On the 4th day, she received a letter from a bank regarding an old loan she had struggled with for years. It was not a bill. It was a notification of a system error in the bank's favor. They had overcharged her interest for 5 years and were required by law to refund the entire amount plus damages. The check that arrived was enough to wipe out her current debt completely. The system glitched in her favor because she stopped begging and started commanding. She deleted the poverty file, and the simulation had to realign to match her command. You have that same power. The words in your mouth are not just sound waves. They are lines of code. But I must give you a warning. This is the safety protocol for level 777. With admin privileges comes ultimate responsibility. You cannot use these keys to harm others. You cannot use the delete key to destroy people you do not like. You cannot use the enter key to manipulate situations for selfish gain. If you try to use this power with the heart of Lamech seeking vengeance or domination, the system will lock you out. The Holy Spirit is the security manager. He will revoke your clearance instantly if he detects malice in your heart. These keys are for building the kingdom, not for building your ego. They are for freeing the captives, not for controlling them. You have been given this power because God trusts you to heal your bloodline, not to hurt your enemies. Your enemies are already defeated. You do not need to destroy them. You just need to outgrow them. So look at your hands. In the spirit you are holding the ring of keys. You have the power to delete the pain of the past. You have the power to enter the promise of the future. You have the power to mute the fear of the present. The code is written. The authority is transferred. But a key sitting on a table opens no doors. A key must be inserted and turned. You have the tools. You understand the rules. But the keys will be useless if your account is not fully activated. You are still standing in the lobby holding the gear, but you haven't crossed the final threshold. The system is waiting for your voice signature to confirm the upgrade. You cannot walk into this new season with the posture of the old you. We need to seal this. We need to lock it in. We need to perform the activation ceremony that tells the universe once and for all that you are no longer a victim, you are the admin. Are you ready to initialize the sequence? Put down everything you are doing. Stand up in your spirit. The ceremony begins now. You are standing at the altar of decision. This is not a video anymore. This is a coronation. I need you to shift your internal posture right now. If you are sitting down, stand up in your spirit. If you are driving, grip the wheel of your destiny with a new firmness. Visualize yourself walking out of the lobby of your old life. You are walking past the doubters. You are walking past the failures of your ancestors. You are walking past the version of you that was addicted to pain. You are stepping onto the glass floor of the throne room. The atmosphere is shifting. The angels are watching. The cloud of witnesses is leaning in. It is time to encode this upgrade permanently into your spirit. I am going to speak a code over you. I am going to seal this level. Do not just listen to these words, eat them. Let them rewrite your DNA. Father, in the name of Yeshua, the Alpha and the Omega, the Master Programmer of all reality, We stand before you today not as victims but as victors. We acknowledge the journey. We acknowledge the pain of the nightmare mode. We honor the tears cried in the dark. We honor the confusion of the glitch. We honor the silence that felt like abandonment. But we declare that the testing phase is over. We declare that the lesson has been learned and the test has been passed. I seal this chosen one in the frequency of level 777. I seal the revelation of the admin keys in their hands. I bind the spirit of Lamech from their bloodline forever. I delete the code of poverty that has plagued their father's house. I delete the code of rejection that has plagued their mother's house. I delete the code of generational trauma. It is unauthorized. It is illegal. It is removed. I command the 7 forms of attack to cease. I speak to the lag and I command speed. I speak to the spam bot and I command focus. I speak to the glitch and I command order. I speak to the false update and I command discernment. I speak to the login error and I command identity. I speak to the chat ban and I command clarity. I speak to the server crash and I command divine health. I activate the delete key in their mouth. Whatever they bind on earth is bound in heaven. I activate the enter key in their mouth. Whatever they loose on earth is loosed in heaven. I activate the mute key in their spirit. The noise of the enemy is silenced. I declare that this chosen one is the repairer of the breach. They are the restorer of streets to dwell in. They are the first of their name to walk in this level of authority. The cycle stops here. The blessing starts here. Chosen one, do you accept this assignment? Do you accept the responsibility to be the cycle breaker for your lineage? Do not answer lightly. This is a lifetime contract. If you accept, say, I accept in your spirit right now. Let it ring out in the silence of your soul. The heavens have recorded your voice. The system has updated your status. The old version of you has been deleted. You are no longer a prisoner of the past. You are the architect of the future. The keys are in your hand. The door is open. Walk through it. Game on.